Good morning and welcome to the Camnet breakfast. I'm Patrick Soko, and today, being a Wednesday, we are talking governance and politics and policy as well. Well, on the program, we'll be discussing election 2021, and we are going to be starting with our usual segment with Isaac Machisa, who's going to help us with the morning boost. Just now, stay tuned.
Good morning and welcome to Morning Boost, and this is Isaac Matsa. I hope you had a great night, and let's do the workout together. So today is going to be very basic, and if you've noticed, there have been some 25 push-ups going around social media, some people accepting the challenge. We're going to do 25 push-ups as well, but in our own special way. Let's do a warm-up now. Let's go. We're going to do a warm-up, and then later on we're going to do the push-ups. So let's do a warm-up quickly. A warm-up phase. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Hope you had a great night. Wake up your kids. Let's do it together. Let's do a warm-up, marching. Then we're going to do push-ups. Let's go. Keep going. And back to marching. Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. 25 push-ups we're going to do today. Tell your hubby it's doable. Tell your wife it's doable. Let's go. Easy jumping. Just like that. Stay at it. All right. Okay, I guess your body should be warm by now. Your breathing rate has to change if you did the right way. 25 push-ups. I'm going to break it down in 5 fives, okay? So let's go. The first push-ups. Very easy. You kneel down, cross your legs, and go down. 5 of them. Very easy. Go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's the first set. We've got 20 more to go. Let's go. Second push-up. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 15 more to go. That's 10. We're doing a 25 push-up challenge. I'm going to change now. 5 more. 5. Go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's 20. If you noticed, I did double. 5 more to go. Last 5. Then we're done with the push-up. Okay. Here you go. 5 only. Go down with a tap. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay. That's the challenge you had today. 25 push-ups. And let's start winding now. March. 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 Okay. That's it for today. I hope you enjoy the push-ups. This is Isaac Matsa signing out. I'm going to see you next time. Thank you.
Welcome back. You are watching Camnet TV, not just another channel. That was Isaac Machisa there with the morning booster, helping us to always exercise early in the morning. Hope you've managed to also do those 25 push-ups. quite a quite an exercise, but you just have to do it because at the end of the day, it is good for your health. Sometimes when it comes routine, it's usually flexible. It becomes flexible. It is no longer hard. But if you want to do it today, you skip the other day, it becomes a challenge. But if you want to be consistent and ensure that you are able to exercise without feeling any pain, you just have to be consistent. So consistency is important in everything that you do. And when it comes to the workout, it's no exception. Let's make sure that we combat non-communicable diseases by ensuring that we exercise. You can do a morning jog, a routine, but you don't have to wait for us and Isaac Machis are there to just exercise. You can do it at your own time. Just make sure you do it right. And just now, it is the right time for our next segment. We call Health Corner with the Medical Women Association of Zambia. And this time around, we have Dr. Mwamba, who has an interesting topic for us. Just listen to this.
My name is Mwamba Pumbwe Kabaye. I'm coming from Medical Women Association of Zambia. So from the previous episode, we were talking about autism spectrum disorder. So by definition, autism spectrum disorder is a developmental disability caused by differences in the brain. The signs and symptoms of autism spectrum disorder. So we are going to talk about social communication. So in social communication, as I earlier said, that a child with autism, they avoid making eye contact or to maintain eye contact. So every child, when they are about 9 months of age, they are supposed to respond to their name. So when you call a child's name, they're supposed to respond. But when a child is not responding when called, or they behave as if they can't hear you, or what we call they are ignoring you, like they'll just be in their own world, it's one of the signs of autism. The other sign of autism is that a child by 1 year, they're supposed to play interactive games. So interactive games such as peekaboo or party cake, those interesting games, the children, when they are 1 year, they have to be playing such games. But you find that a child with autism, they're not able to play simple interactive games. Then if a child does not show you what they want, or point to say, "Mommy, I want that," they point to say they're interested in this thing, it is also a sign of autism. So initially I said if a child is 9 months of age, they're supposed to respond to their name. So if they're not responding to their name, it could be a sign of autism. Then if by the age of 1 year, a child is supposed to play simple interactive games such as peekaboo, party cake, but if they're not able to play simple interactive games, it is a sign of autism. Then by 15 months, a child, they're supposed to show interest in the objects that they like. So if your child does not point to what they want, it could be a sign of autism. So, and then by 24 months or 2 years, a child is supposed to read like facial expression. Like if they hate somebody, they are supposed to notice that, okay, mommy is not happy or dad is not happy. They're supposed to notice by the age of 2 years. So if the child does not show this sign, it can be a sign of autism. Then usually by 3 years, a child wants to play with other children. So they want to interact with other children. But if your child prefers to play by themselves, they don't want to play with other children, they don't want to interact with their age mates, it could be a sign of autism. Then if the child does not pretend to be a superhero or play other games by the age of 4 years, it could be a sign of autism. Let me just say by 5 years, a child is supposed to sing, dance, and act for you. Like they'll do some acting for you, but if your child does not do that, then it is a sign of autism. Then when it comes to playing, they usually prefer to play by themselves, and then they don't concentrate on the object as a whole. I'll give an example. If a child is playing with a car, instead of just playing with a car the normal way, they would rather just maybe spin the wheels, instead of just driving it around, they're just spinning the wheels, or they've got some say they're playing with building blocks, and building blocks that have got different colors. So they'll usually line up the building blocks according to the color code. So if it's red, they'll line up the objects red, 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 or yellow, 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 just like that. And they'll play the same way all the time. They won't change. This is a sign of autism as well. Then children with autism, when they are playing, they usually want to play the same way every time. They've got a routine which they follow. So if there's any change in their routine, they usually become very upset. So they usually become very upset with just a minimal change in their routine. And then other signs of autism can include running around in circles. They are doing body rocking. So children with autism also have got different reactions to food, smell, music, things that are within their surrounding. So you find that maybe a child with autism can have hypersensitivity. So they can either have hypersensitivity or hyposensitivity, meaning that a child with autism, when there's too much noise, they want to close their ears. Then they also have preferences for food. You find that children with autism, they don't want to touch certain food, especially like wet food. Most of them, they don't like touching nshima. So they have challenges touching nshima. You see that if the child touches nshima, if it sticks in their hands, they want to rub it off. But if you give them a spoon to use it for eating nshima, they'll eat. So those are the signs and symptoms of autism that you have to look out for. I'm Dr. Mwamba Pumbwe Kabaye from Medical Women Association of Zambia. Keep watching Camnet TV.
There you have it. Thank you very much for that elaborate comment information from Dr. Mwamba there on autism. I actually didn't understand some of the symptoms of autism, but now I understand that when a child is behaving in a certain way, you have to also look out, and probably you can also understand some of the symptoms to say this should be autism. I didn't know that when the child, for instance, plays in a certain routine, it could be a sign of autism. Well, quite an interesting topic there, because we have been commemorating the Autism Month, and a number of activities have been lined up with the Ministry of Health and other cooperating partners to just raise awareness on this important subject. And just now, we have to understand or get to be abreast on how the kwacha is actually performing against other major convertible currencies. Well, the kwacha is buying against $1 it is buying at 16 kwacha 87 ngwe, and selling at 17 kwacha 20 ngwe. Against the British pound, it is buying at 21 kwacha 39 ngwe, and selling at 21 kwacha 82 ngwe. Against the South African rand, it is buying at 1 kwacha 7 ngwe and selling at 1 kwacha 10 ngwe. And against the euro, it is buying at 18 kwacha 89 ngwe and selling at 19 kwacha 26 ngwe. Those are your money market, and we just hope that the kwacha will remain within that rate. It has been stable for a while, and this is quite a good response of the local currency. We just hope that it will continue to go down, but that will depend on the economic fundamentals which the government will put in place. At the moment, we are aware that the government is in talks with the International Monetary Fund, IMF, and we are aware that the Minister of Finance, Tumbiko Musokotwane, has been making headways in terms of addressing that very issue on the issue of debt restructuring, the issue of getting the IMF bailout package. And we just hope that Zambia gets the IMF package, but others also are hoping that the IMF bailout package will actually worsen things for Zambia, because it comes with its own conditions and restrictions that may further affect economic growth. But that we are yet to see regarding what sort of agreements will be on the table. And that's why stakeholders have also been calling on the government to be more transparent in terms of ensuring that the debt issue is addressed in a transparent manner. The IMF package especially, that it is the conditionalities that it comes with it, people must be made to be aware so that they can be prepared and understand what they are in for. So, and it is important when we're talking about the spirit of transparency and accountability, we need to ensure that all matters that border on economic development are handled as such. And just now we are going to zoom in one of the stories that has been trending in the main news. This is a story coming from the Minister of Local Government and Rural Development, Gary Nkombo, on Kachasu. Let's get to listen to this story. We'll be back on the other side. Stay tuned.
Is a common business in most compounds of Zambia, and Lusaka province tops the list as most families in compound depend on brewing of kachasu as their own source of income. The alcohol content in kachasu is not known but believed to be very high, causing a lot of those who consume kachasu to lose their senses after consuming it. Local Government and Rural Development Minister Gary Nkombo Tuesday afternoon raided Kachasu brewers in Lusaka's garden compound in the company of the state and council police and poured drums of Kachasu that were being found brewed.
Inkani amene chitika mu Chimunzi iononga abantu. Mwamvera? Iononga abantu. Olo chinkale bwanji kulibe pamene tizavomera ife boma amene inabwera manje kuvemekeza kuti vana vavanzatu bazifera mu Kachasu. Vana vamene vafunika kuti vaende ku maskulu, vana vamene vafunika kuti vakankale ma doctor, vakankale ma nesi, vakankale ma president vaonongokera mu Kachasu. Kuno ndiye kwamene kupangika bamene muitana ati majanki.
Criminality levels have also increased in the country owing to the fact that productivity levels have reduced among men, women and the youths as they spend most of their valuable time drinking kachasu in these compounds.
Sometimes ole mwana wamene samvera pa nyumba ni kutenga kamutengo na kumushapa. Chifukwa chakuti ngati mwamusirira chabe ni mwana we mwamuononga. So nifuna nilaire kuno sitizasiya tayambalero sitizasiya kusiya imwe mamene munkala kuno kupaya bana babanzanu mwambesesa ka ndiye final yamene nabwera ukamba ine wamene nikamba pano ndine Nkombo Gary Nkombo.
And a community member has appealed to the minister to provide Kachasu brewers with other sources of income and ensure that junkies are removed from this compound if the Kachasu business is to be brought to an end.
Tifuna pali majanki na yebe msevenzerepo basi mzasevenzerepo nishina bantu wazareka kupika because wanu mwamini wa mwana wapikira mamura ndi mwana wapezera ndalama zochitira survive so wezi mwataya wasakirieni na vojita.
For others, the decision has been repealed, saying it is their own source of income in which they look after their families. The community then started to throw stones on police officers who later fired tear gas to displace the crowds. Prudence Chota reporting for Camnet TV News.
Well, there you have it. That's an interesting story on Kachasu, where the Minister of Local Government and Rural Development, Garin Kombo, was in Garden to actually ensure that they inspect and put to an end that business. Well, Kachasu has always been illegal in Zambia, but enforcement, we wonder where these council officers are, considering that this Kachasu has been there since then. Every time an undertaking like that with the minister was undertaking, well, you would find that they would try to take some drastic measures. But sustaining those measures has been a problem as well. And we see that immediately the authorities leave the premises, people may start brewing the same Kachasu again. The people also in that locality were suggesting that the government needs to ensure that they empower the Kachasu brewers because that's their only source of income. Well, that's quite a tricky situation if you ask me, because people have been earning a living through illegal means. Well, it's only advisable that under, for instance, the Constituency Development Fund, these are people who already have a business mentality, who can be assisted to do other productive things to avoid these illicit activities, because at the end of the day, alcohol abuse among young people, the elderly as well, has been high in these communities. And when we talk about alcohol abuse, we talk about productivity. So productivity has been declining as a result of alcohol abuse, and these are things we need to ensure that as a country we are proactively addressing, so that young people are constantly engaged in things that are productive to avoid them indulging in such illicit activities. If we are not being proactive with that, young people won't be going to school. They will continue spending more time in the Kachaso dens. But how can we ensure that we sustain such measures is another question, because like Prudence mentioned in that report, she talks about the issue of Kachaso being, Lusaka being dominated by this business. It is true, because every community you'd find Kachaso brewers. I remember we had an undertaking of that nature in Bauleni. The situation is more worse in Bauleni. While I thought the situation is more worse in Bauleni, the situation is severe in Chawama, in Jack compound rather, and Chawama, Mrs. area, all those areas in Lusaka, you'd find that Kachaso brewing is a big business which people earn a living through, and which continues to consume more lives, because the alcohol content in that in Kachaso is just too strong, and that's that. Or you just take one pint, you cannot walk anymore. So those are some of the dangers of Kachasu, and we just have to be proactive. But however, we have to also be fair as a government, because I've come to understand that even our friends of our foreign origin, let's say for instance the Lebanese, the Indians, they are also brewing some kind of Kachaso, because if you ask me, there are some beers that are well packaged. They are even sold in shops where non-alcoholic beverages are sold. But when you are getting these drinks, they are actually alcohol, and they are well branded, and you think you are just thinking they are named something like wine and whatever. They are also affecting most of our young people, because they are partaking that substance, and we have to be proactive. We also have to clamp down on those who are organized. Those are just a different, they're only just a step ahead from these Kachaso brewers in these communities, because they have just branded their bottles and everything. So we need to ensure that alcohol or illicit alcohol is gotten rid of from the shelves, because it is really affecting national productivity. Just now, we are going to also zoom in another interesting story that has been trending. This is a story pertaining to also the council workers. Well, this is because we were talking about President Hakainde Hichilema, who said we were working on the economy, and now we are paying councils, and now councils are now having enough resources, we are able to pay them on time. So those council workers, I think when they heard the president actually made those pronouncements, they had to actually rush to the office and say, the president says you've been paying us, where's the money? And that's the story we had yesterday, because they are saying they haven't been paid for 2 months. But the council town clerk, Mr. Alex Mwansa, also clarified on that matter, saying that they are only delayed by 3 weeks. So let's get to listen to that story that was done by Blessings Chakwila.
In accordance with the Employment Code Act of 2019, an employer is under the obligation to pay the worker when due and payable on hourly, daily, fortnight, and monthly basis. The piece rate employees have to be paid on the completion of their task. However, wages of piece rate, daily or hourly employees can be accumulated and paid after a month if agreed between the two parties. General workers take up various supporting tasks in different institutions such as construction and transportation of materials and equipment. Some general workers at Lusaka City Council have demanded their 2 months wage arrears.
And then, okufuma March, April na April, 26 na April. Meaning, bambi bakafora mu March, mu May, oro bakatampa okufora. Iya March. Nomba April ni tukafora lisa. If you don't have mutengo imyendere ya matransport tatwekwata matransport chonse fe bare firo kushitana ngano kutontonganisha pa president bantu fya bachikate kwe bati bari lande fintu file bomba not corruption not fintu fya kwe bati fya ufufu ntungu but pa kanso ufufu ntungu bwena bwingi
announcement that vakanso vafora whereby stifora no fora wana so wamena amapereka information kuja kuri wa president not akazipereka information yazoona ati vantu vafora pa kanso per month not akazipereka information ya boza and one union yetina sankapana they are doing nothing, totally nothing. Useless.
They explain to Camnet News how difficult it has been to cope with life without their monthly pay.
Kuisa 2 months kwamba last month na ino April tatula fola ifi yakuja tatikuetea malaiti hapa ni shile mutu na lalo mwafita but shile muntu ndabomba na bomba kuma Chinese batu chile kwa bomba mkanso muboma
vafola ndrama chani so tidabwati ni kanso iti amene vaforesha hizo ndrama akuti mawekazi pano tina 2 months city 2 months city fola manje ni kanso iti amene akambati vaforesha so tipe mhala president vakabwere pano ita de matauni kirakiwa meya na union watu wamenetina sanka vaboza na minister of local government huyu akabwere pano kaindi amena vaona samonga advenda council si foresha wale.
Meanwhile, Lusaka City Council town clerk has refuted claims that the workers have not been paid their wages in 2 months.
It's not actually 2 months. We've delayed the March wage bill for 3 weeks and 3 days. So we had a few employees who came in the morning to just air their grievances regarding the delayed payment of salaries and wages. So we talked to them and assured them that we put measures in place to ensure that their salaries are paid as a matter of priority.
An employer may not limit the right of an employee to dispose of his or her wages. Blessings Chakwila, Camnet News, Lusaka.
The issue of sources of funding for political parties has been a bone of contention in Zambia, and the 2021 general election was no exception. But it has been about the perception based on suspicion, as political parties cannot be compelled to disclose the source of funding, as there is no such law at the moment. The 2021 polls saw big money spending mounted by the Patriotic Front, the United Party for National Development UPND, and the Socialist Party, according to the report that was conducted by Transparency International Zambia, which revealed that the 3 political parties were among big spenders during the campaign period. The fear is that if political parties are not being regulated, the country risks being captured by people with selfish interests over the country's resources. Ahead of the 2021 poll, money was in abundance to the extent that others converted the currency into beddings at the expense of the majority poor Zambians. In some instances, citizens had to line up for money during political events. And Transparency International Zambia Democratic Governance lead Chimuka Nachivinga says there is a need to regulate political party fundings.
People think that if they have got more money, they can buy their way through as far as leadership is concerned. So it has also distorted the attitude or thinking about the citizens. So right now, citizens think that if somebody has got money, that's the only person that they can elect to leadership. But things don't work like that. We want, as Transparency International Zambia, to ensure that we have got this piece of legislation enacted and also implemented in Zambia so that we can have the political environment leveled in terms of political parties sourcing for their funds, and also ensuring that we have got a mark in terms of how much money a political party can use in a country as far as our campaigns are concerned.
Meanwhile, Caritas Democracy and Governance Officer Wublod Kangala says political parties must be regulated through the Political Parties Bill and emphasize the need on community mobilization so that the process can be citizen-driven.
Because remember, these are the finances that, if anything, will influence at some point how these people, once they are given the power or the mantle to govern us, how they are going to, govern the country. And it's the same funding, if not, if anything, disclosed and be told where the funding is coming and the intention of the funders. That if you are not, as citizens and as civil society organizations, taking advantage and wanting to know the source, will influence even the policy. Because surely for someone to fund, sometimes they are seeing huge funds of money being deposited into these political parties, accounts. There should be some motives behind that. So it's always important as a country to have such a piece of legislation in place, so that we start regulating and also taking advantage of such a piece of legislation as civil society.
Patrick Soko, Camnet News in Lusaka. There you have it, a story regarding political party funding as well as regulations. An interesting aspect there from the Transparency International. And just now in the studio, I've been joined by TIZ Democratic Governance leader Chimuka Nachivinga. Welcome to the program, sir.
Thank you.
We appreciate that you could find time to be with us in the morning.
Yeah, thank you so much for inviting us, and good morning, viewers.
Interesting. Just to get the conversation started, I want to understand just your department and your overall focus at Transparency International Zambia.
Thank you so much. Let me start by saying that Transparency International Zambia is a leading anti-corruption watchdog organization that belongs to the international movement which is involved in the fight against corruption. We have our own guiding principles as Transparency International Zambia, and that our local chapter here, we have got 4 major programs that we implement. We have got the democratic governance, we have got people engagement, we have ENRG, which is environment and governance. Then we have got also COVID-related program where we track resources that are being donated to that cause. We have got 2, I would say, management-related programs, which is M&D and institutional development. Basically, for the democratic governance program, which I manage, this particular program looks at strengthening public and private institutions as far as the fight against corruption is concerned. So basically, much of the interventions are being informed by the research that we actually conduct, which is the Zambia Bribes Payers Index. So from the Zambia Bribe Payers Index, we see the institutions, we rank the institutions in terms of their vulnerability when it comes to accepting the bribe. So those institutions that we think or we find that are more vulnerable, we then come up with interventions that we actually work together to try and see how we can strengthen the institutions. Apart from that, I'm also involved in advocacy and also policy influencing to ensure that we have got policies that are sound, that can contribute to social development and also uplift the living standards of the people. In addition to that, I'm also involved in ensuring that different platforms, of course, for advocates are actually created, and also to see to it that legal frameworks that we think can contribute to the fight against corruption, like we are already talking about campaign financing, which is one of the critical issues for us when it comes to ensuring that we level the playing field as far as campaign financing is concerned. Then when it comes to the election point of view, of course, I'm involved in managing the entire electoral cycle as far as the organization is concerned. So anything to do with elections, of course, the Democratic Governance Department comes in to see to it that we do monitor elections, even by elections, and so forth and so on. In addition to that, we have also other programs related to public finance management, ensuring that we do track these resources, but not only tracking, also engaging oversight institutions on the recommendations that have been made by PAC in terms of the uptake of those that are found wanting, so that we can see how far have they gone in implementing the recommendations that have been made by PAC. So in a nutshell, this is how I could describe the department that I manage at Transparency International Zambia.
Interesting. Now, getting to the topic of discussion, why do we need to regulate political parties as well as financing, especially during campaigns?
Yeah, this is a very typical topic for us as Transparency International, because we think that, first of all, when we regulate political parties, there are so many advantages that will come as a result of that. To start with, we have seen what happened in 2021, being a general election year, in that Zambia currently right now doesn't have a piece of legislation when it comes to campaign financing. So this means that different political parties are free to source their funds wherever they get the monies and so forth and so on. But some of those sources, of course, which are not known, to some extent may be dirty, thieves may actually take advantage of that. So for us, we think it's a chain reaction. If we have got this piece of legislation, first of all, it will ensure that the level field as far as participating in political related activities is leveled, in that whether somebody has got money or they do not have money, they are able to participate by the resources that they are being given from government. Of course, that is if government does give resources. Secondly, I think regulating campaign financing will actually help the government when it comes to issues of running away from state capture, because we understand that some of these monies, where it comes from, it could have evil intentions. So people, thieves, call them whatever names you call them, would pump money into different political parties with an aim that when this particular political party comes into power, they will again come in and root. So it leads into issues of grand corruption to start with. These people who have been giving monies will definitely influence policy at that particular level. So we want to run away from grand corruption, and we also want to ensure that policies and legislation that we put in place does help to motivate even the poor citizens to participate. But above all, this particular piece of legislation, for us, we think it will actually foster transparency and accountability, and also integrity in the entire electoral process. So basically, I think as Transparency International Zambia, this is the angle that we are taking, so that we can be able to see how integrity can be fostered into the electoral cycle.
What proactive measures have you undertaken to bring stakeholders on board?
Yeah, so basically there are a lot of activities that we have undertaken. Firstly, we started by capacity building to different political parties. We have been working with different political parties, about 10 of them. So we went around to train them as far as campaign financing is concerned, so that they have got a deeper understanding. And that is at local level. Then we have come to provincial level, and we are now at national level where we managed to bring the different leaders of different political parties and managed to form what we are calling a steering committee, which is a coordination mechanism to try and see how we can get back to the drawing board, looking at the current 2017 political parties bill that we have. Of course, with the steering, political party steering committee, we already had a meeting where we had to comprehensively look at the 2017 political parties bill, and the reactions that are coming from the different political parties is that, of course, that particular bill, maybe that's one of the reasons why it was not even accepted during the National Dialogue Forum, because it has got evil intentions which are not supportive to the growth of democracy as far as political parties are concerned.
What are some of the evils, as you also explained on that?
Yeah, so of course, when you analyze the bill, you find that one of the issues that are coming out from these different political parties is the issue of the minister. We have got the minister there, I presume should be the Minister of Justice, who is given more powers. This minister has got powers to deregister a political party. He has got powers to determine what should go in the constitution of a different political party. Of course, those are not good provisions for a political parties bill as a country, which is trying to nurture its democracy. And some of the things as that this particular the bill talks of a particular it talks of a board, and of course this board also is being appointed by the same minister. And remember that this minister belongs to, let me assume, the
ruling party.
Yes, the ruling party. So it means that to some extent, the people that were crafting this particular bill at that particular point in time were actually targeting certain political parties so that maybe they do not become vibrant to compete against the then ruling political party. So there are a number of issues that are coming out of there. And also, of course, different stakeholders are saying that the political parties bill is not so comprehensive. And also issues of gender lenses are actually missing out of it. And the more reason for us as Transparency International Zambia, we have picked the same document and we want to go back to the drawing board so that we can tease out what is not good and what is good and add on so that this becomes a comprehensive and inclusive bill. So.
Interesting. We talk about regulating political parties because we also understand in Zambia elections are highly commercialized. If you look at the spending amongst other political parties, we saw other political parties literally failing to even put up a single billboard. But we saw other political parties, on the other hand, putting up billboards across the country. But how can we ensure that we decommercialize the politics and ensure that it's based on people's ability to deliver and not because they are spending more or they are giving us handouts?
Yeah, of course, it's a simple thing. Advanced democracies, learning from the advanced democracies, the model that they are using is that they have put a cap in terms of how much each political party is supposed to spend in an election. So it's not as free as it is in Zambia, whereby, let's say, for example, PF, UPND can, bring in whatsoever money that they have in an election. So we have got a cap to say this is the amount of money that a particular political party can spend in elections. And also this money, if this bill goes through, of course, there must be a way in which it's supposed to be utilized. It's not just utilizing this money for all purposes, for example, voter buying and so forth and so on. Because at the end of it, this bill should actually stipulate that these monies that political parties have should actually be accounted for, meaning that the financial records should be given indicating how the money have actually been used. So for us, I think as Transparency International Zambia, putting a cap on how much money a political party should inject in a given election can go a long way to try and stabilize and also be inclusive in terms of involving everyone, because we are in a democratic society, of course.
In case you are just joining us, we are in conversation with Transparency International Zambia Democratic Governance Leader Chimuka Nachibinga, and we are discussing political party regulation as well as their campaign financing. And just now, talking about financing, there's another aspect of funding political parties as contained in the political parties bill. That was another issue that was contentious.
Yes.
How is it important that political parties are funded, considering that others have advanced the notion to say it would be a waste of taxpayers' money, considering that Zambia has to spend money to more urgent matters such as buying medicine. But why should we spend money in financing political parties?
Yeah, thanks so much for that question. Of course, looking at the current economic situation in Zambia, where we are highly indebted, and of course, everyone, it's normal thinking that if we are to fund political parties, of course, where would the money come from? But I think for us, what we are trying to achieve is the issue of regulating whether the money is coming from government and the money which is coming from donations and also the private sector, and money which is coming outside the country. Of course, if government has got the muscle to fund political parties, a certain criteria can actually be developed such that it funds those political parties that we think are vibrant and they have got mass-based kind of an approach. Like already it indicates that only a political party that has got members of parliament can be funded. But of course the criteria can be enhanced, because it may also lead to everyone, even me, registering a political party because I want government funding. But it doesn't work like that. A criteria should be developed who should actually access the money. But if government doesn't have the muscle to actually fund political parties, it doesn't matter. For us, what matters is let's regulate whatever monies that these political parties are getting. Let it be government funding, let it be the money which is coming from donations and other well-wishers. Because if we leave it open, we are actually risking this country as far as state capture is concerned.
In Africa, are there countries that have already advanced in that score, and how can we learn from them? And what are some of the countries that we can learn from as we try to ensure that we regulate political parties and financing as well?
Yeah, of course, there are countries that have advanced as far as campaign financing is concerned. South Africa is one of them. We have Ghana. We have Kenya itself, which has got even good provisions when it comes to the law as far as campaign financing is concerned. So we can look at some of these countries in terms of their regulation as far as campaign financing and see if we can adopt some of these models. Beyond Africa, of course, in the advanced countries, they are, advanced democracies. Of course, political parties do get monies from the government. Maybe it's because government has a lot of money in those particular countries. But I think the most important aspect is to look at the model which we think can be workable. And I think as far as I'm concerned, if we are to look at the Kenyan model, it's one of those best that I have seen if it is fully implemented. Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah.
In case you want to join the conversation, you can equally send us your text messages or call us in studio. We are having a conversation around political parties regulation. I want to also get your perspective, Mr. Nachilinga, regarding the way forward. You've been engaged political parties, the media, and what about the drafters of the law, such as the Law Development Commission, the Minister of Justice? At what stage are we, and how fast can we make progress as a country in that score?
Yeah, so of course drafting a law has got a process, and for us, even before we involve other stakeholders that are involved in drafting of laws and so forth and so on for the country, we thought that maybe we could build a critical mass at the bottom. And the more reason we engaged different political parties, we have engaged other stakeholders like you have mentioned, the media, the academia, and also CSOs, to see that we can actually develop a broad base as far as advocating for this particular bill is concerned. So immediately, I think the immediate step after all this that we have done is basically to engage the Minister of Justice and the Zambia Law Development Association, so that we can now draw a roadmap. Of course, we'll engage these two I've mentioned with the respective political parties, and also Zambia Zambia Center for
Inter-party dialogue.
Yes, inter-party dialogue, because all the political parties belong to that umbrella body. So basically, we engage these stakeholders and draw a roadmap so that we can actually quicken the process of drafting this particular bill, as we think that, of course, we still have political will for such legislation, because they are very much important when it comes to championing issues of transparency and accountability, but also, most importantly, promoting good governance in our country.
Okay, interesting. Just now, we are going to take a short break. We'll be back on the other side. Stay tuned.
Camnet TV is becoming big and better. You can now watch Camnet TV wherever you are around the world, simply by downloading the Camnet TV app. With Camnet TV app, you only use less bundles. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Hello, I'm Deborah Lukalu, all the way from South Africa. You are watching Camnet channel, not just another channel. God bless you. Stay tuned.
There you have it. Welcome back. You are still watching the Camnet Breakfast with me, Patrick Soko, and my guest on the program is TIZ Democratic Governance Lead Chimuka Nachibinga, and we've been discussing political party regulation as well as campaign financing. So what should we expect from TIZ for the year 2022, 2023, rather, in terms of some of the major projects regarding your department, talking about governance?
Yeah, of course, a number of expectations or a number of activities that we intend to conduct, and one of the major activities, like we have already been discussing, is the issue of trying to draft this legislation on campaign financing. And the second aspect is that we will be conducting the Zambia Bribes Payers Index, which is a survey that we always take after 2 years, to just try and see how different public institutions are vulnerable when it comes to issues of bribes. So this
when is it starting? This one, the new one?
Yeah, so basically we have already started the process, and in the next 2 weeks, of course, we'll be training our research assistants, and also just indicate to the different institutions that we are going to involve that we should be collecting data between June and July. Yeah, then of course we are planning that by September we should have the findings for the Zambia Bribes Payers Index. Yeah, so of course this particular one is combined with not only assessing the vulnerability of public institutions as far as bribes are concerned, but we want to theme it to skew it more to procurement-related aspects, and also try to evaluate some of the interventions that we have put, for example, establishment of integrity committees and integrity tools, how institutions performing, because those are some of the interventions that we have been implementing, being informed from the 2019 findings. So we want to see if they are doing a good job to try and curb corruption. Then apart from that, of course, we will still continue to monitor by-elections that are going to come on our way, and we'll also still continue to ensure that we promote policy, we influence policy and also legal framework changes, and also to ensure that we are fully involved in public finance management of this particular country. And this is the angle that we have taken to ensure that the Ward Development Committee's capacity is actually built to monitor the CDF, which has actually been decentralized. And the fact that the amount of money has been now increased gives us a lot of work to ensure that the different institutions that are involved or stakeholders, their capacity is built to be able to handle all those related aspects. So basically, we are actually moving towards that direction.
You're concluding, Max.
Yeah, so for me, I think, and also for Transparency International Zambia, I think the fight against corruption should actually involve everyone. And as Transparency International Zambia, we are using the systemic approach in the fight against corruption because we believe that corruption is happening in different sectors, different places. So everyone should actually come on board. All the citizens, wherever they are free to report corrupt-related cases. They can walk into Transparency International Zambia. They can do this online. They can also report to the police. They can report to ACC, which is our all-weather partner in the fight against corruption. And we call upon all the stakeholders, well-meaning stakeholders, to support the idea of legislating campaign financing in our country because of the benefits that it has when it comes to curbing corruption and also promoting transparency and accountability in the democratic processes.
We thank you for finding time to be with us in the studio. Well, just now we are going to allow our guests to zoom out as we zoom in the story on the crane. The crane has been trending for a while now because this has been there in the Central Business District for years. And it has been removed finally under the United Party for National Development Administration. Let's get to see that clip.
Contractor engaged to dismantle the crane attached to unfinished building in Lusaka's Central Business District has gone back on site. This follows the indefinite delays that was necessitated by the lack of proper relevant crane to facilitate the bringing down of this old crane. Mondi Works Limited team leader Dennis Mutemwa has disclosed that the company targets to finish by Wednesday, 27th of April 2022.
We're making progress. We managed to remove the counterweights, and as you can see, so far we've removed 2 sections of the bone. Today we are hoping that we should be able to finish up dismantling the boom and the jib, and then tomorrow we'll come back to the tower. So we're pretty sure that tomorrow will be done. Actually, we got a quotation from Ministry of Transport and Logistics, but before we could actually go to pay there, this crane was actually already on its way. So going to Kazungula, sending people from here to Kazungula, and then starting off from there, we saw that it was actually going to take us a bit more of time. And we are in a hurry to make sure that this thing comes down.
Meanwhile, Royal Lutanda building owners have assured proper maintenance and construction completion as soon as the crane is brought down.
Lusaka, we want to change the landscape of this city, and here we'll be putting up a very, very good building. The sponsors of this project are putting in about over $8 million US, and the value of this building is over $5 million US. So there's a lot of money being pumped in, and we hope to have a masterpiece here in the next few months.
Meanwhile, business activities in this area are since stalled till the works are completed. Alex Shimba, Camnet News, in Lusaka.
TV is becoming big and better. You can now watch Camnet TV wherever you are around the world, simply by downloading the Camnet TV app. With Camnet TV app, you only use less bundles. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Welcome back. You're still watching the Camnet Breakfast. We are happy that you could still stay with us and following the proceedings. Let's keep it Camnet TV. Remember, Camnet TV is not just another channel. And just now, it is the right time for my second interview. But before that, I just want to reflect on the interview we had with the Transparency International Zambia, and talking about specific issues to be do with political party regulations, because political parties need to be regulated in terms of how they finance their campaigns according to Transparency International Zambia, because they can be, these political parties need to be also held accountable for various fundings which they get. And this is vital in ensuring that we facilitate inclusivity in the political fraternity. We were actually also zooming in one of the stories that was in the main news pertaining to the cranes there, which have been there for years, and they haven't been it hasn't been removed for years, and it has been posing serious challenges in terms of security threats. And we are glad that authorities now have moved in and ensure that this crane is removed. And this is actually via media reporting, because the media has also been very proactive in terms of addressing this matter. And we see that at the moment now, the efforts on advocacy to ensure that that crane is removed has paid off. And we just want to thank the media. There are various media practitioners who have been reporting on that issue, because it has been posing as a serious threat to the people, especially who trade around that area. It could have fallen on anyone, and we are just happy that finally there is activity. Though there has been a delay, but they say better late than never. Just now, I'm going to introduce my guest on the program, who is Indigenous Lobby Group President Lawrence Makumbi. He's also the President for the Cleaners Association of Zambia. Welcome to the program, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Patrick, and good morning, viewers.
Thank you for joining us for the Camnet breakfast. Is this your first time here?
Yes, it is, and this is a good place you have here.
Thank you.
Thank you for hosting us.
Thank you. Just to get started, Mr. Makumbi, we want to understand, first of all, why the Indigenous Lobby Group. We want to understand the concept of this organization, and why do you call yourselves Indigenous Lobby Group?
Okay. Indigenous Zambian Lobby Group is a group of associations coming together to come and speak with a louder voice than the individual sector groups that we have. We have the Cleaners Association, where I'm the president. We have the Security Association. We have the clearing and forwarding. We have the refrigeration. We have the Buy Zambia campaign. We also have Mr. Yusuf Dodia under this umbrella. So we have, it's a broad-based, and also the mine suppliers, and also the petroleum transporters. We come together so that, yes, we've been speaking as individual sector groups, associations, but now we say let's come together and speak on this louder and bigger platform, where we say the whole economy of Zambia must be in the hands of Zambians. We're coming together for a common cause. The common cause is to make sure that Zambians run this economy in all sectors. We are capable, so we're saying let's run the security business, let's run the clearing business, let's run the refrigeration business, let's run the mining haulage business, let's run the petroleum sector and transport. All these sectors in other countries are controlled by the indigenous people. Hence we are calling ourselves the Indigenous Zambian Lobby Group, where we want to speak to government as one voice representing the whole economic sector in the country.
Interesting, Mr. Makumbi. Just now I'm going to just take a short break so that as we come back, we get deep into our conversation. And remember, our dear viewers, you too can add your voice on this program by calling the number that is on your screen. You can equally share your thoughts on or perspective on our Facebook page. Just now, we'll take a break. We'll be back shortly. Stay tuned.
They were not there when God created you.
Deborah Lukalu, all the way from South Africa. You are watching Camnet channel, not just another channel. God bless you. Stay tuned. Hello, I'm Deborah Lukalu, all the way from South Africa. You are watching Camnet channel, not just another channel. God bless you. Stay tuned.
Welcome back. You are still watching the Camnet breakfast, and in the studios I've been joined by another guest who's coming from the Private Security Association of Zambia. He is the Secretary General there, and is Mr. Francis Mukuka. Welcome to the program, sir.
Thank you so much. Good morning, viewers. Just one clarification. I'm coming from Private Security Association of Zambia.
Yes.
As at Security Private, I'm the president of the Security Association. At Indigenous Zambian,
you are the secretary.
I'm the Secretary General.
Interesting. Yeah. I hope you are steering the indigenous lobby group forward since the launch. Yeah. We hope so. So now we just want to get. I was asking Mr. Makumbi regarding the preamble of the lobby group. He gave me his perspective, and we also want to get your perspective regarding what do you want to also achieve, especially as indigenous Zambians lobby group.
Nothing. I think Mr. President my president has explained. The whole issue is we thought of coming together as an association. We are more than actually I think 15 or 20 association across the country, and we thought we are still facing the same challenges where business and contract is concerned. And we thought, how do we come up with this? Because we are facing the same challenges, challenges of businesses. Some associations are also trying to fight for their SI in Parliament so that they can be given that law. For example, the Private Security Association have been trying to fight for the SI through the independent motion in Parliament and other means, but we have failed for the past 7 years now. And we thought by coming up with this lobby group, it will help even those that have, those that don't have the SI, maybe to have a share in the market of this country, because we believe this is the one country where we can do business. And we as Zambians, I think if I again give you an example of the cleaning industry, can we have a chance to do business in South Africa to do cleaning? The answer is no. If South Africans can have cleaning firms cleaning our ShopRites, cleaning our mines, this means that these people, they don't have confidence in our own companies. So we thought we should have tried to fight for ourselves so that we can also have a share. I'll give you an example of also security industry. The security industry is a situation, is an institution that has been there for some time, and we have seen that it has been taken over by the foreigners. We have people that are doing export from South Africa up to Kasumbalesa, which is not supposed to be the case, because as far as we are concerned, those exports should be made at the border from South Africa. Then the Zambian companies take over to Kasumbalesa, and those Kasumbalesa also, they have their own thing. Why are we allowing this? We have been attending meetings in other countries, and we have seen companies, local companies and foreigners, they have to cooperate, they have to partnership for them to do business. But why is it very strange? Why is it so difficult here? So this is the reason why we have to come up with this rope group.
Mr. Makumbi,
yes.
Has the United Party for National Development government done its best to ensure that as indigenous entities, you are safeguarded or take the mantle of leadership in terms of facilitating development? And that's the question we are asking.
First of all, I would say, look, the new Dawn governance is fairly new to this governance. However, I would congratulate the president and say thank you to him for setting up the Ministry of SMEs, which is solely looking at the economy and looking at the SMEs in Zambia. As you know, the backbone of every country is in entrepreneurship and not in government. We've heard these things where government is employing 30,000 here, 11,000 there. The major contributors to economies that are growing worldwide are the SMEs or the private sector. Government, yes. But then we say to the New Dawn government, there's still a long way to go. You know, governance is, they carry it over. So we've been working with governments from the MMD up to now. The PF did their part by coming up with, listening to us first of all, and I would say thanks to the late President Michael Sata, who gave us an opportunity to speak with the President for the first time, and then also gave us an opportunity to start in the cleaning sector, to start cleaning Zamteo. He gave a directive that why are you giving a foreigner, give this to a Zambian. That is what we are looking forward to in the UPND government. We know they are new, but we have met right now, I would say, we've met the Minister of SME, Mr. Honorable Elias Mubanga, who has been very welcoming. He said he's going to look into matters pertaining Zambians that are in entrepreneurship, and we're hoping for the best. After that, he directed his permanent secretary and two of his directors at the Ministry of SME, and they called us and we've been speaking. However, you know, first of all, you talk and then we see the action, because yes, even though you talk, we must see what is going to happen. And I'm glad to say that the permanent secretary at SME is a very strong lady, and we've seen that what she said she's going to do, and we're going to go back to her, I think, within a month to go and see how we're going to follow it up. However, I must state that, look, Zambia is the only country that most of us have. We don't have the luxury of having dual citizenship. We want to tell the nation, we want to tell our leaders right now that, look, if you don't support us, who's going to support us? We've been saying time immemorial that why is it that in the world, so to say, Zambia is amongst the countries where our leaders shy away from supporting or deliberately supporting the indigenous people. Why are we saying this? Look, we've got our neighbors at the DRC. You cannot open a single entity there for business without a Congolese. And the Congolese have been at war. Even right now, their economy is not even stable. You understand? But they support their own people. You cannot do any business. That's why a lot of these foreign institutions are facing challenges in even opening mines in the DRC, opening up camp management services, security companies. You cannot do those businesses without the Congolese. Even at this first level of doing business in the DRC government has seen it proper that they support their own indigenous people. Look at Botswana also, for example. You cannot go into Botswana without partnering with the Swana. It's by law. You can't do certain businesses unless they are, some of them are just for the Swana. Just like cleaning, just like even running shops. If I give you an example, most of these chain stores that are enjoying and swimming in profits in Zambia, they don't operate in Botswana, and yet Botswana's GDP is far much better than the Zambian one. Okay, there's more money in Botswana than here, but they can't go there because the Swanas have said, if you want to set up these chain stores, you want to do this business, you have to partner with the Swana, and the Swana has to have 51%. We go down, when we go into South Africa, South Africans from the time of Nelson Mandela, rest in peace, they set up what was called, what is up to now called the BBE, the Black Empowerment, Economic Empowerment. that thing is meant to support deliberately the black, because it's written black empowerment, economic empowerment, okay? They don't shy away like us Zambians do. Our leaders here most of the times have got a big problem in that they want to play to the gallery of the globalization and all those fancy phrases. But the truth is, if the economy of South Africa, which is far much bigger, I think even 10 times bigger than the Zambian one, the government there can say black economic empowerment. Why is it so difficult that leader in, leader out in Zambia, we shy away from saying a Zambian, indigenous Zambian? We all know who an indigenous Zambian is. An indigenous Zambian is black. I'm not being racist. We know that there are Asians, there are Far East people in Zambia, there are even white people in Zambia, okay, that were born here. We even had Guy Scott as our president for 3 months. But why can't we say indigenous Zambian? Every time we go to the Ministry of Commerce in the past government, they used to say we can't include indigenous Zambian in any law because it will be segregative. Then we are asking this question to the New Dawn government: why don't we say indigenous? If South Africans, where the number of whites is far much more, it's almost half the population of Zambia, the number of whites in South Africa, they still say black economic empowerment. So why is our leadership in this country always shy of saying indigenous Zambian? So we are putting this, it's a challenge to the New Dawn government and to His Excellency President Hakainde Hichilema and his government, that we need deliberate policy. Look, we have international or foreign companies that are doing garbage collection in Zambia at the mines, because the mine owners are from their country. So they carry those guys in a briefcase and come bring them here, and they say we've bought the mines. Because we've bought the mines, we're going to run on our own laws. They are untouchable, these mine investors. Garbage collection is done by the foreigners. Security service is done by foreigners. Haulage of copper. Right now, I'm coming from Solwezi, where when you are using that road, Chingola Solwezi Road, you come face to face with over 30 trucks carrying copper from the northwestern province, for Tanzanian trucks. Is it logical that we can have our transporters with trucks that are packed, and yet we have foreigners that are enjoying carrying our copper? Our copper is a diminishing resource, a resource that will finish at one time. Then we can't have our own transporters carrying that copper. Fuel is carried by foreigners, okay? Refrigeration contracts at the mines is done by foreigners. A foreigner comes to come and sort out air conditioner challenges or setting up of air conditioner units. Oh, that is just, it's pathetic. Sometimes it angers us to even say we are Zambians, because how are we dealing with such things? And then we go to the past government, they say we cannot include indigenous. So that is where we find ourselves at this disadvantaged position, where we are not benefiting from our mineral wealth. Look, the nation must know that if we do not benefit from copper, copper is the only product that brings us mineral wealth in this country. Bank of Zambia, the dollars that they count are the dollars of copper. There's nothing else that can replace copper at this moment. This is the biggest resource that we have. So if our entrepreneurs in this country cannot benefit from the biggest asset that we have, and it's a diminishing resource, it will finish, then what are we doing? These foreigners that have come to run our mines, they are going to go one day, and what they are going to leave us with is only big craters or holes in the ground showing that one time there was copper here. Hence, it is a time that our government must wake up, and we are asking the New Dawn government to make sure that in the laws that we are going to have in the next 5 to 10 years, let there be a deliberate policy where we are going to say an indigenous Zambian, a black Zambian. Don't shy away from calling it an indigenous Zambian. Me, I'm a Zambian, 4th, 5th, even up to 10th generation. I was born in Zambia, my parents are Zambian, my grandparents are Zambian. There are some that are second or third generation that have come from other countries. But why should we shy away? This is a challenge to this government, that every law that comes out, you know what is the challenge right now? Of all of these sectors, the common challenge that we have as sectors is that we may have our SIs. Okay, the statutory instrument, like given the security may have their own statutory instrument that only Zambians will be will carry out security services. We have statutory number 22 of 2019 for the cleaning sector, which is a cleaning sector reservation scheme that says cleaning is a preserve of Zambians. However, when you go into the implementation of that SI, the definition of a Zambian in the CEC Act of 2006 is very vague. You understand? The Zambian is described as any company that is formed at Pakra. So 10 foreigners can walk into Pakra, form a company 99.99 owned by foreigners, and that company will still be defined as a Zambian company. So those are the lacuna that we have in the law. That's why most of the SIs that we have are failing to be implemented. We go further, even the chicken rearing that we have been having challenges with the poultry sector, where we say these foreigners or the Chinese cannot do this chicken rearing. It is failing to be implemented because the parent rock, the CEC Act of 2006, is full of lacuna. It's full of holes where the foreigners are able to circumvent it.
Mr. Mukuka,
yes,
your perspective on this matter?
I think what is coming from Mr. Makumbi is what we as an association believed in. As I stated earlier, it's the reason that we had to come up with the law group from all the association across the country. I can know what Mr. Makumbi has stated, where I said, no, the government, we praise the president of creating the small and big scale ministry. Yes, for me it's a good move, but is the ministry doing the right thing? We have heard so many good statements during the UPND government. We have heard good statement. Even still, we are still getting this good statement, which is giving hope to the whole entire business people and the youth at large. But what matters in all these statements is the implementation of the things that they are talking about. They have been 8 months in the office. Yes, we know we still consider them as new people, but as the president, you have people to help him implement these things that he has been talking about. That's a fact. So if we believe that if we can go up to the end of this year, I personally I believe that the president has no people to help him implement these things. Hence, if we have the way Mr. Makumbi has stated that we have gone to the ministry and so forth, if they are not implementing, please allow us to meet the president, so that maybe we can talk face to face to the president, like we did we met Mr. Sata, the great president, so that maybe the president may know what is on the plan. What we are talking about, if they are talking about the empowering the locals, what involves is not about talking. What involves is to implement. Who are these locals? Are you registered companies? And they should do the research. They should go to ShopRite. Who is doing the cleaning in ShopRite? They should go to mines. Who is guarding? Who is providing security at the mines? They should go to any other security company, any other companies, corporate world, and see who are these people that are doing this. Are they our local people or our foreigners? Even if it's our local people, let's try to see how are they getting this contract. Is it a straightforward way of getting the contract? Because we have seen even our local people, what used to happen 10 years ago, even some 2 years ago, we find that one company has been contracted to do the work at a certain company, like for example Zesco. I've been mentioning Zesco, I've been mentioning NAPSA, because we believe this is our money. And we believe this is a national cake that everyone should share who are doing business. So I believe that these companies, they have contracted the company for good 10 years, and they learn an advert, formally to learn an advert, but they don't no one will go there for interviews. They have been learning the same security company services at this corporate world. So the Donald government, we are urging them to look at all the sectors. We want local people to do business. We want to empower locals. Our Chinese, where they are coming from, they have been empowered by their Chinese government. This is why even the Chinese government had to set a China bank in Zambia. Why? The investment that they get from the Chinese government, they should not go and deposit in our Zanaco. They will go and deposit in Chinese bank so that they monitor where they are paying back their loans. Why can't our government do that? We believe we have all the trust. We supported the New Dawn government, and we want to see that things move as they promised us. Things move the way we want things to be. Because when we are empowering locals, we are leaving our money in our circulation. The money we don't have China bank, we don't have Namibian bank, we don't have a bank that we are going to deposit our local banks, and this money will be in our circulation. So we are urging our government, please, they should look at our cry. We have been crying for some time. We want you to implement and make that ministry work according to why the president had to come up with that creation of that big and small industry ministry, so that they can empower the small business people and big business people. How do they? They should call for a meeting. They should know in which area are they going to help us? In which area are they going to implement these things? So we are urging these ministries, I think, to make sure that they do their right thing. Otherwise, we will count them as failures, because the president meant well to come up with this ministry. And we are not only talking about the ministry, there are those ministries that are also entitled to do the SR for those associations. Please let them attend to. We have only seen one ministry, which is Ministry of Information, that are trying to implement the SI for the media, because the president clearly stated on the swearing in, I think, one of these conferences, to say the media should be given the SI. So should it take the president to instruct the ministries? They know why they are holding on those offices. That's all.
Mr. Makumbi.
Yes, sir.
You don't have capacity to transport fuel. You don't have capacity to clean the local industry. Is that true?
You know what? This issue of capacity keeps coming up, especially from people that want to deliberately disadvantage us. Look, one example I'll give you is look at Singapore. Singapore, the economy was at the same, the GDP of Singapore was the same with Zambia in the early 1970s. Okay? How have they grown their capacity from where they are today? They are making TVs, they're making phones, they're making vehicles. Okay, how have they grown? Did they say to themselves, we don't have the capacity? There is no country, there is no way that any person can be born running. You have to build them up. That's why we're saying to the government, this issue of capacity. You know, in Zambia, we have a lot of theorists. Okay, the problem we have is we talk more than we act. So when you want somebody not to go further, you point at things that are not there, or things that should not even be seriously considered. I'll give you a few practical examples. Look, if you want me as a cleaning company, me myself, I'm a director and I'm running this business. You give me a contract for 2 million kwacha per month. The biggest challenge that I have is not the workmanship, because they are workers that I can employ right now. I can employ 700 workers, 1,000 workers. There are a lot of people that need jobs right now. Okay, the people are there, and in production, human resource is one of the major factors of production, isn't it? Next is the finance. In Zambia, the biggest challenge we have is financing. I go to any financial institution right now. First of all, they'll ask for unreasonable, unnecessary collateral. Meanwhile, I'm asking them to give me money to buy 2 vehicles and 4 pieces of equipment. Okay, I can say if I was in China or in South Africa or in all these other places, I just must remind you, in South Africa, just by virtue of you being employed at Camnet TV, you can walk into Toyota South Africa and get a motor vehicle, just by virtue of you having a payslip. But here in Zambia, nobody will do that. They will ask for a lot of unnecessary documentation. So even our companies, when we have contracts, when we approach these financial institutions, they do not give us the money, because the biggest factor of capacity is money. Because these mining institutions, I'll tell you an example of one mine in the northwestern province where they require you to have 12 4x4 vehicles as a cleaning company. 12 4x4 vehicles. How many in Zambia even can afford a simple Vitz, or now to say you go and buy 12 Hiluxes? Because you have to go into the pit to take workers, you have to take them all around. You cannot go with these small vehicles. So if, first of all, I don't even have the capacity to go and buy 1 4x4 Ford Ranger or Hilux or Isuzu, how am I going to get that contract? So already, these things are deliberate. You know, these investors that come into Zambia, they already have that notion that, you know what, if we want to keep money away from a Zambian, especially use another Zambian to oppress other Zambians. That's why you find this issue of capacity. It's not the foreigners that talk about capacity, because they know the formula of building capacity. They know that South Africa was closed up because of apartheid. During that time, over 40 years, South Africa was closed up to the to the world. They had to build capacity inside. Those people in South Africa, they started making cars, they started making these cleaning materials, they were doing everything in-house. They even have aeroplanes themselves in South Africa. How did South Africans raise their capacity? It's by building in-house. So there's no way you can tell us right now, as a technocrat, you come from UNZA, all you know is the books and the theories. Then when you come outside, you want to implement the theories that are unimplementable in a society where things must run as a business. That's why sometimes we wish to also advise our leaders. You know, when you are appointing some of these people to these positions, sometimes if you are doing commerce, let somebody who has run a business, not a theorist, because in Zambia we have theorists that are motivational speakers, theories that are advisors to the president. The person has got not even one single company or one thing that they can point at. That is why you find every time capacity. But I would say you, when I bring it back home to like the Cleaning Association, I'll tell you that how have we been building capacity? What we've been doing is that we've been training the directors, because we know that the directors at one time, some of them are school leavers, some of them are just do-it-yourself kind of business people. So we train the directors. We've engaged also CEC, we engaged ZPPA and also ZRI at some of these training workshops, where they come and train our directors at that level with their managers. Then we have gone a step further to also set up a school. For the first time in Zambia, there's a school for cleaners. Cleaners go through what is called the cleaning proficiency course, where they are certified as cleaners. They go into class for a month, and they go another month to learn how to, where they learn public relations, personal hygiene, safety, and others. So we are saying, when you talk about capacity, on one hand, we are building our own capacity as Zambians. Then on the other hand, the capacity is supposed to come from government, where they say deliberately that this must be done by a Zambian, because there's nowhere. Okay, look, you come out of school today and we are asking you for 10 years experience. No. That is not supposed to be the thing. A person must be given a chance and a chance to grow. Patrick, here where you are with most of the journalists, the Camnet is a fairly young institution. They gave you opportunity to showcase your talents, and here you are, now you've got experience. So if If Pastor Chiruba here did not give you an opportunity because you were straight from college or you just had 1 2 years experience, would you be where you are today? That is what we are saying. If you do not give us the opportunity to work, how do you expect us to grow the capacity? And then you've got no deliberate policy to make sure that I make mistakes. Look, I've given an example of Singapore and South Africa. I can also add to that list China. You understand? They allow you to make mistakes. Entrepreneurship is not like school where you go and master something and churn out what you memorized. No, we are supposed to be allowed to make mistakes. In China, the people who build roads are Chinese. They don't bring Americans to go and build the roads there. The people that make computers in China are young boys, grade 7, grade 8. They are the ones making computers. That boy from grade 7, by the time he's reaching his 25, he's going to be able to make a computer of his own. So why is it all this bows down to leadership? This issue of capacity must stop coming out of the mouth of our leaders, because Zambians have got the capacity. But also, we are coming from a culture where we were not entrepreneurs. If you remember very well, our history states that in the Kaunda area, entrepreneurship or thinking outside the box was compressed. Okay, so most of us have to grow. So Zambian government and you people that are in these high offices, directors, PSs and all that, stop using that capacity. First of all, look at what are you doing to grow the capacity of the entrepreneurs. We should be allowed, just like a kid, a young baby is allowed to fall and stand up. We must be able to be allowed to make mistakes, and from those mistakes we grow. The problem that we had, although I should say this was a problem that we had in the previous governments, is that the people that were given contracts, some of those big contracts, were companies that were built, were formed in May, and in the same May you give the contract, you give the same company a 5 million kwacha contract. They are entrepreneurs, genuine entrepreneurs, like myself, like Mr. Mkuka, and a lot of them out there in Zambia that have been in business for over 20 years. We've built capacity in terms of knowledge, but then we are not given the opportunities to do the business, to apply our knowledge to get the money that is there. That is why we have this issue of capacity.
Mr. Mkuka, now also I want to
let me also comment on the issue of capacity. I think it also hurt me to hear when I heard about the capacity. No, as Mr. Lawrence has stated, we have banks, and this is a deliberate policy in other countries where if you are running a company, you should work in the bank and get a loan, not on a condition that they will not say you are not going to manage. For instance, I come to you to say, if I want you to give you 10 pin, can I have a collateral? Do you have a plane? Automatically you don't. So now we need government to come up with policies that will empower registered companies so that we can also grow our businesses. By doing so, we employ more Zambians, because believe me, government alone can't create employment without private sector. They will need us. Because for me, if Lawrence has got 150 workers, I also have 200 workers. If we say, okay, we have failed to run this government, so this means that those that are not working, if they are 5,000, 150 plus my 150, they will increase the number. So it's the government that's supposed to support us. The capacity should be coming from the government. Government policies should give us more to do business. We have capacity. We don't have financial capacity, and we need good policies from the government. The Minister of Commerce, the Bank of Zambia, they should come up with these policies that will empower local business, as we have seen in other countries.
Talking about your sector, which you are vested in, the security sector,
yes.
There are so many complaints come there, Mr. Mkuka.
Yes.
Poor salaries for your workers.
Yes.
We also have. You are also talking about foreigners that are taking over the space. But how are you trying to harmonize these challenges in the sector, and what are the stumbling blocks to you taking up the major contracts, especially as indigenous Zambian security companies?
One, let me start with the salaries. It's like at your home when you want your children to be intelligent at school and everything. Actually, they will need your support. You need to make sure that your children are happy. They have carried food at school. You pick them on time. If you don't have the car, you give them transport and so forth. This is what comes in when it comes for salaries. Salaries in the private security companies. The reason why they are low salaries, and the problem is we don't have a policy. We don't have an SI. We have been asking government to say, can we give us an SI? We start monitoring or regulate these security companies, because by regulating them, we have at least a charging rate that will give you and other companies to meet the minimum wage. What is happening now is someone will just come and say, I'm registering as a company, as a security company. For this person to have contract or business where I'm charging 2,500, you will tell the client to say, I can give you the service at 950. Now, if the company is being paid 950, how much is he paying the guy? Because there is no policy. If they give us an SI as an association, we'll try to implement this, we'll try to regulate these security companies. We'll tell them security standard, the security minimum wage, the rates, the charges that they are supposed to charge for these security services, so that we can have at least all security companies will be able to meet the minimum wage. Because there are no policies that will support. They can't give us an SI to start regulating this security company. The security companies are failing to meet the minimum standard. Because you find that these foreigners as well are taking, they're coming from South Africa, they're guarding South African or a foreign mine in Northwestern. Because they are saying, okay, where I'm charging 2,000 for a security physical guard, them they are charging 4,900. Even those that are charging 4,900 because there is no rules, there is no SI, they are also paying less salary to these security guards. So we are saying, can we have an SI? We start implementing security companies so that we can have standard salaries, we can have standard services. Not everyone will walk up and give the security guards overall work suits and say, you go and start guarding them. We have to have a standard. The reason why we have come up with an association is to have a standard in the security private sector, to have order in the security industry.
On the 25th of April 2022, the President had a press briefing at State House where he also categorically stated that Zambians, we are also Zambians, we have to support Zambians, according to him. And you as entities that are running businesses, or Zambians that are running businesses, do you feel there is more in terms of a political will to ensure that that concept is actualized, or probably it is just mere talk?
Yeah, this is what I was talking earlier. I said it's not a matter of talking. It's a matter of trying to implement what we are talking about. If you are saying let's support local industries, what are they doing to make sure that these things that you are talking about is being implemented? It's not just a matter of talking, no. So what we are asking from the government is to make sure that whatever the president is saying, those ministries or ministers in charges should make sure that what is our law, what are we supposed to do in this office. If you are Minister of Commerce, how am I interacting with the people that are doing businesses in Zambia? And how am I going to help them implement what the president has said? But when the president said, oh, let's support the local industries, no one is taking up the law to say, okay, fine, what should we do to implement what the president has said? So this is why we said, if the ministers in charges of these ministries, if they can't implement, please let them give us a chance to go and meet the president. Because we explain, maybe the president will now give directions, but it should not be like that. Until when the president gives direction, then we don't have people in this ministry that can do the job. It's them who don't have capacity to run this country.
Mr. Makumbi, we also have Zambians who do register companies on behalf of foreigners. Then all the responsibilities are being undertaken by foreigners. How does that affect especially you as indigenous Zambians or entities as well?
It's an unfortunate
Before we proceed, I think someone wants to have a conversation with us, Mr. Makumbi. You are through to... Oh, we lost that one. You can call back and join the conversation. We are also in the 9 minutes. If you want to call back, you can call right now. So, Mr. Makumbi, you can now respond.
It's unfortunate that people are used as fronts. We've seen this in most of the companies where somebody is just used as a front. But we must tell them that the law is catching up with them. When we find out, because if you are a director at Pakra or a shareholder, you must receive dividends. So at one time or the other, the law will catch up with those people that are being fronted. Because we must be able to, like in some of these sectors, we have companies that have fronts. So we'll catch up with them because a director or a shareholder must receive dividends at the end of the year. So if they don't receive dividends, those will be caught up at one time or the other. But then to talk on the president and what he said, we are going to say what the president says is policy. Okay, so if the president says the government is going to support Zambians because he is also a Zambian, the president is a businessman who has earned his wealth here in Zambia and not outside the country. What he says, we believe, it's policy, but then it's about implementation. When we talk about implementation, that's where the ministers and the PSs and the directors in these ministries have to work very hard. We'll start with maybe putting a challenge to His Excellency President Hakainde Hichilema's statement by saying, President Hakainde Hichilema, make sure that the Minister of Mines brings back to the table the bill that we worked on, the local content bill. The local content bill was formulated by the previous government, and it has a lot of good things in it. Why the Minister of Mines has shelved it is something that is very surprising, because the Minister of Mines is a person who has grown up on the copper belt, and on the copper belt he has seen what disadvantages are there. So why he has shelved the local content bill is very surprising. Is there an invisible hand that has told him to stop that or to halt it? Because the nation must know the local content bill is a bill for the mining sector, which is saying clearing and forwarding must be for Zambians. Haulage must be for Zambians in the mining sector.
We have that call.
Okay.
Good morning. You are through to the Camnet breakfast.
Okay, good morning to you, sir.
Good morning. Your name and where you're calling us from?
My name is Mambo.
Okay, you can...
I'm Mr. Mambo calling from Livingston.
Okay, Mr. Chimambo, you can go ahead with your contribution.
Yes, sir. So, your voice is low, but then I don't know, maybe it's because of network.
Okay, you can go ahead. We can hear you loud and clear.
Yes. Those two men who are shifted there, you know, I believe those people are very upright with whatever they're talking about. Look, what Mr. Makuga said, and also what Mr. Makuga said regarding the way the contracts are being run here in Zambia, there's a very big problem. On the issue of conditions, if someone wants to run a company or wants to get money in order to push on his company, if the people are supposed to help that person, put up the condition to look that person, it means that they are hindering progress. That person cannot go ahead. That means that company wants to help that person. You know? And again, when you look at the experience which Mr. Makuni was talking about, it is very true. You are just from the college or from the university today. You have a certificate and you want employment. And then someone can do the same. We need somebody who has got 5 years experience. Where are you going to get that experience? So it is very true. Let the people be given a chance to make a mistake. And out of that, then they are going to be corrected. Then they are going to be professional. So that when we need somebody 5 years experience, they will have that experience. Those are going to give them a chance to make a mistake. So as that please, use two men seated there. Can you continue preaching this message to the public, up to the president? Because the president can only be there as the president, but the problems that you are passing through here are bigger than the president. Okay? So it is a big company. I personally was in a big company before. I understand what those men are talking about. The salaries are low. But you know that the employers are not trying to give them the good salaries. But there is no capacity. There is no good support. Someone comes in and says, no, we have a good citizen. But then you will tell him, no, we have to charge you the 500. Then someone again from the same industry goes there and tell me, it is only 950 for you. But the outbreak is contracted for 2005 and 2009. It will completely fail, and then that person charge is cheaper. Who carry the day? And when now it comes to Monday, what is going to pay the workers? Expect that person to think they come supposed to benefit. They come supposed to buy vehicles. But if now we can't stay in another sector, what we expect, it means the security will be paid. Maybe 460 or 500, you know, for the company also to have money to run the company. And some of these big companies, they are always on rent. So the work of the building, once money, you also have to buy fuel and other things. So please, do not put money there. I have supported you, the move that was taken. Can you seriously push this message to the public? And if you are willing to meet the president, you go and see him. He's our president. You can't just be the president and visit there when you are talking down here. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chimambo, for that call. He was just commending you for your approach. But we are coming towards the end of our program, and I'm just going to give your concluding remarks, and you summarize with Mr. Chimambo. Okay. I'll give you a minute each.
Okay.
I'll start with Mr. Mku.
Yes, thank you so much for the caller, and it's good that he has been in the security industry, exactly what you have said. What we were not going to stop here. We have been trying to be robbing time and after time. Definitely one day we'll meet the president, and we know to say all these things will be implemented. People, associations that are also affiliated to the lobby group should have patience, but one day we have leaders that are still pushing. I trust Mr. Makumbi and all the entire executive that will do wonders to the Zambian market.
Interesting. Mr. Makumbi.
So I would say on the president's statement, when the president said he's going to support the Zambians, we are saying let what he said become policy, and let the people that are running these ministries start with, first of all, the simplest that is there is that the Minister of Mines has a bill on his hands which he has put under the drawers. We want the president to instruct the Minister of Mines to bring back the local content bill, because the local content bill is going to allow haulage to be done by Zambians. Mining, the small scale mining, or those small components of mining supplies to be done by Zambians. The cleaning to be done by Zambians. Clearing and forwarding, bringing in of goods and services to be done by Zambians. Transportation of fuel to these mines should be done by Zambians, because we are not going to sit back and allow Tanzanians and South Africans to bring fuel up to the mines by using foreign trucks. We need haulage of this copper to be done by Zambians. We want stationary supplies by law to be done by Zambians. Fire suppression. We want training. Can you imagine? We bring in foreigners to come and train our own people in entrepreneurship and in farming, when we have got farmers, people that are from NRDC, University of Zambia, that can carry out this training. We want it by law. It is there in the local content bill that Zambians must be able to do this. Petroleum supply, farming supplies to the government, to the mines, because the mines, I will come back again and state that the mines are the backbone of this economy. This is where the money is from. That is where we are supposed to get our money.
Thank you very much, gentlemen, for making your presence on the Camnet breakfast.
Good. Thank you, Camnet, and thank you.
Well, this is the time when we have to excuse the screens. Until next time, when we come with another interesting episode of the Camnet Breakfast with me, Patrick Soko, and my co-host Sharon Kalimbula, who unfortunately could not make it today. And I just hope tomorrow we'll be together Remember, Camnet TV is not just another channel. Keep watching Camnet TV. Bye-bye.